Hello, people of the internet. It is me, Magnus Robert, and today we're going to be doing another tier list video. But I thought, let's stray away from the main show for a change and let's rank some Telltale characters. So today we're going to be ranking Walking Dead Telltale Season 1 characters in this little tier list. I'll leave the tier list down in the description. We've got favourite, love, like, dislike, and hate. Those are the tiers. Now, I'm only doing Season 1 characters because I want to replay the game before I kind of give my opinions on the different characters, because honestly, it's been quite a while. I think the last time I played the Telltale series would have been when Season 4 first came out. So it has been like a fair few years. So I wanted to replay Season 1 especially. Season 2 though is probably Season 2 and 3 are probably my most murkiest. Like, I don't remember them very well at all. I remember Season 1 quite well for the most part. There's a few like decisions I forgot about, but for the most part I remembered the names of most of the people, and I remember what happens and things like that. I did a stream of all 5 episodes plus the 400 days DLC, so you can go watch that on the channel if you want. It's in the live stream section. But yeah, today we're going to be ranking the characters, but I'm only going to be ranking them based on what they did in Season 1. So obviously some of these characters like Clementine obviously go into Season 2 and Season 3 and Season 4, but I'm not going to be ranking her based on that. I'm just going to be ranking her on Season 1. Now, how I rank characters for me is a few things. Now, if they're a villain, cool, that's fine. I basically want to rank the character based on like a character arc, based on how they were utilized, based on how likable they are, or how empathetic we are to them, etc., etc. Things like that. So I don't really want to. I'm not ranking people based on like how cool they are. I'm ranking them kind of based on their character progression and all that. So starting off with Lee, obviously a favorite. Like it's no shot. Now, do I think the Telltale games are like the best well-written thing ever? No, I think they are like fairly well-written. They are like a pretty simple story, but I do think it's like fairly simple, right? But simple works sometimes. But that's not like I'm not trying to like rag on it or anything. I really do adore the Season 1 especially. But Lee's character arc is great. You know, you have don't they call it the dadification effect, where they like pair up a sort of male figure with a young female? Like, I think they said the same with like The Last of Us is kind of a similar thing, right? Or like Logan, where you basically pair up a father figure with a young girl. But I think that dynamic works really well, especially of course because when we first meet Lee, we figure out that actually he's not actually such a great guy, because he's just murdered someone. He murdered a state senator who slept with his wife. So we're like, okay, this guy's kind of like, we don't know how to feel about him at first, I suppose. But he, of course, is the person we're playing as. We're kind of forced to. And then we kind of slowly start to see the side of him. And I know you kind of can choose his personality a little bit, but really, like, his personality, like, his good sort of side does shine through. We see that Lee is an honourable, respectable person. He takes care of Clementine and doesn't just, like, abandon her and leave her. You know, that's the first thing he comes across her, and that's, on his mind. I'm going to protect this girl because that's what's right to do. And without him, she'd be gone. And at least how I like to play Lee. I know I changed it a little bit. I like to play him honestly, but I think even if he's being dishonest and he's being like a little, like, it's understandable, right? So, yeah, for me, I think Lee is like the best character. Perfect fucking character arc. He starts off as this sort of outcast of society, and he kind of ends risking his life for, some little girl that he's come across, right? He's like a mentor. I mean, I suppose there's no profound arc really, but like, I don't know. I think it works how it is, right? I think the way he goes down is brutal, and I think it's great how they sort of tie it back. Like, you could see it coming from a mile away that Lee was, of course, going to bite the bullet, but yeah, the way he dies, I think, is really well done, and like teaching Clementine how to sort of survive, and ultimately, like, Lee does keep Clementine alive even beyond the grave because he taught her so much, right? And, he saved her on that very first day. Yeah. I like Lee as a leader. I think Lee can be funny sometimes too. There's a lot of like exposition and stuff. Like, there'll be like scenes where Lee will be like, I've got to get that door open. And it's like, okay, fuck me. But like, even like with that cringe stuff that I think the Telltale games kind of relies too much on. They rely too much on the players being idiots. They think that the players are going to be idiots. So they have this like awful expositional dialogue that I think kind of ruins the game a little bit for me. Not a major thing. I still love the game, but yeah, for me, Lee is the favorite. Now we got Becca. I mean, I think I just like her. She's a bit annoying. I understand her purpose in the game. To be sort of for Shell, that kind of motivating factor. It's Shell's younger sister, so of course she wants to do what's right by her. But she's a bit like angsty. So yeah, Clementine is a favorite. I think Clementine has the best arc in the season. I think in season 1, you might be thinking, well, doesn't Lee? I mean, Lee does, but Lee starts as a guilty man who's murdered someone, and he kind of ends. He can either end as a guilty man who's murdered another person, or he can end as who maybe just needed it more. But he ends like killing the stranger. Do you know what I mean? Like, he has an arc, don't get me wrong, like surviving and like adapting to it and becoming a leader and all that, and becoming like basically like, in a sense a part of society. Like, I'm not trying to say Lee doesn't have an arc, but his arc is not as good as Clementine's. Like, Clementine starts as like a scared little girl who doesn't know what to do, and she ultimately can end, right? Well, she does end, but she can end, right? Seeing her parents die, being okay with it, killing the stranger. Obviously, if that option is done, now obviously Lee can strangle him too, but Clementine can sometimes be forced to do it. So, the stranger, killing him, but the main thing is, of course, shooting Lee or leaving Lee. And I think either one are like, I know it kind of comes down to choices, but like the choice to shoot Lee, I think would be like the perfect arc for her, right? Because she relies on this man at the start of the game. She calls out to him for help, calls out to him for safety, and she ends up killing him and sort of learning his lessons and kind of carrying on. And of course, her main goal is to find her parents. That's all she wants the entire game. And the ruthless revelation that the parents are dead. I think it has a good effect on her character, but of course, like, she kind of gets over it in a way. Like, I think deep down she probably knew they weren't alive, or she knew that there was a good chance they wouldn't be. And I think like Lee's line saying like it's good that you know is a really nice sort of, I guess, seal on that. But yeah, I mean, Clementine also speaks to the stranger without Lee's knowledge. I mean, she can be a little annoying, but yeah, she does have a bit of an arc throughout the season. Learning about loss, like obviously with Duck and all that, and kind of. And then Lee teaching her how to survive, and her learning how to use a gun, and cutting her hair, all those things. And like Clementine does have more of an arc in like 2, 3, 4, but like she does have like a pretty solid arc in this season too. Plus, she's like the main emotional crux of the whole game, and I think she's really really well utilized throughout the whole thing. So I have to put it there. Kenny. So Kenny in season 1, I think I love, but. I'm not going to say favourite, but I do love him. I like Kenny a lot, don't get me wrong, but I think some fans, to me, don't understand him as like, I think some people sort of see him as like and I'm trying not to like let the community's opinion hurt my opinion, because I do like Kenny's character. I think he has like a good character arc. Kenny is a little racist. He's a little rough around the edges, I suppose. He's quick to anger. But ultimately, he's a caring family man, right? That's all he cares about. He cares about his family, and he really cares about getting on a boat. And that is Kenny's character. So, he's from Florida. No. So, of course, we first meet Kenny at the farm. He seems pretty nice. He's pretty, he's offering... Does he offer a lift straight away? I don't remember. But, he seems nice. He's a family man. He's got a kid. He's got a wife. Cool. And then, of course... when the thing happens where Sean and Duck are both in danger, I think that's when we first see the side of Kenny, right? Because Kenny grabs his son and runs away. He doesn't grab his son, put his son in safety, and then go help Sean. Nah, he runs away. So that was like the first like red flag for Kenny, okay? And then the next red flag is... but he makes up for it because he saves Lee at the end of episode 1. So I was like, okay, fair enough. The next red flag is episode... what was it, 2? No. Okay, the main thing, the killing Larry, and he gets very mad at you if you don't bash in this man's head with a cinder block or whatever it was, or a salt lick. He gets very angry about that if you don't help him do it. Now, you might be saying, well, what if Larry did turn? Kenny's right. Maybe. But here's another option. wait a few seconds. Like, he's gonna turn quick, sure, but not that quick. Or be on standby with the salt lick, to ready to bash his head in, or like say Lee, hold him. There's more reasonable ways to do it, right? Which is like you're being cautious, but then you're not. Plus, there's like 4 of them there, right? Wait, 3 of them. There's Kenny. There's Lee. There's obviously Lily and Clementine. 4 of them. Well, I guess Clementine can't really help, but yeah, they could pin him down. Sure, I know he's a big fucker, but like 3 of them. Maybe Lily wouldn't do it. I don't know. That was a bit unreasonable, I feel. Maybe like right in a sense, but I think like isn't Larry like start? I think that people like if you slow the scene down, he's breathing, he takes a breath before Kenny slams the thing onto his head. So he might have actually survived. It's possible. Anyway, another red flag. But the main red flag in season 1, at least, is the fact that Kenny does not go with you if you make certain decisions, even though you could literally be armless, bitten. Or no, you weren't armless. What am I fucking on about? You haven't lost your arm yet. You can be bitten, and all you want to do is find Clementine. Like Clementine who's out, who needs help, right? And Kenny, the arsehole, can say no based on the fact that you haven't sided with him in a few instances. And I know that's like a game mechanic, and you can say, well, you're basing that on the game mechanic, but that's, I think, part of Kenny's character. Because ultimately, Kenny is very selfish, right? And I think we see that throughout the whole game. He rarely risks his life for others. For others that aren't his family. I should tacked on. That's kind of how I get it from Kenny, at least in season 1, right? Like he runs away from Sean when his family dies. Very sad, very tragic, very very good. But like I think ultimately, what I really like about Kenny's character is how he overcomes that selfishness in the end. If you, of course, leave Ben alive, actually, or if you kill Ben, either way, he ultimately risks his life for someone who isn't his family. He sacrifices himself to the Ben one is a bit stupid, I can't lie, but he can sacrifice himself for Ben, to put Ben down, or he, of course, I prefer the Krista one, or of course he can jump down and help Krista get back up from the hole in the roof or whatever, right? I prefer the Krista one because it makes more sense. The Ben one's really dumb. It's like Kenny's wants to just shoot him in the head and move on, man. He's already dead. You can try and say sorry to him if you want. But yeah, I think I love Kenny a lot. I think he's a bit, maybe not even overrated. I just think misunderstood by fans. Like I like him because he is like a damaged man, right? I think he's a great character because he's damaged. He is kind of selfish. He's not the most loyal person, right? That's what I love about him. Like he's complex. He's not simple, and so that's why I really love Kenny. And I'm trying to rag on him, but I do think he's misunderstood. And we've got Herschel. Honestly, in the comic, I don't really like him in the comics that much. I think Herschel in the comics is kind of just a grumpy old bastard. As a fan, I guess I dislike him because they don't do anything with him really. It's like a cameo. It's a cheap cameo where he has like a fairly reserved demeanor at first, and then it completely shifts when Sean dies. Obviously, understandably, but he blames you regardless, even if you tried to help Sean. So yeah, fuck Herschel. Show Herschel I love, comic / Telltale Herschel, which is the same universe. I'm not a big fan of Sean. Sean I like. I think he's a good, he rescues you from the neighborhood, brings you to the farm, and then ultimately he dies pretty quickly. Of course, it's a cameo, but it also explains like how Sean was bitten and put in the barn. So I kind of like it as like an in-law kind of explanation. And I think Sean was a pretty cool guy. So yeah, I'll give him a like. We got Duck, aka Kenny Jr. So Kenny Jr. Duck, I think I like. I'm just gonna go like. He can be like a little, I guess a little annoying, maybe, but he's ultimately like a pretty, chill kid. He's a little goofy, but that's of course to be expected with his age. And I think the way that he dies and his death is, fucking tragic, right? Him getting bitten like that, terrible. Catcher, I think I like. I low key. This is like my theory of Catcher. Maybe this is like the fact like what like obviously you'd kill yourself. Killing yourself after losing a child, I think, is somewhat understandable. But knowing that you're leaving your husband behind, plus like Clementine, another little girl who needs as much protection as possible, another child who needs protection, and all the other people, of course, on the train. Yeah, that's, I wouldn't say selfish. It's just, I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. But then I was thinking, maybe there's another, like, theory here, right? What if Kenny... No, I'm not going to say Kenny's abusive. But, like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably understandable. Obviously, you're in a... I'm never going to morally condemn someone for killing themselves, so don't worry. That was I take all that back. No, yeah, Katja's fine, I guess. Like, she doesn't really do that much. She doesn't really have an arc. She's just kind of there. She's the resident vet / doctor who does some stuff here and there. But, I mean, ultimately, she doesn't do that much, so I can't really put her that high. Glenn is like a fine cameo. I like it enough in episode 1. And, of course, he fucks off at the end. I like how episode 1 was like, where they tried to jam as many comic characters in as possible. That was kind of funny. But, yeah, Glenn's kind of cool. I like him. Doug. Yeah, Doug I like as well. I feel like a lot of these are going to be in like. Yeah, Doug's just fine. I mean, he's a little nerdy guy. He has all these like cool, like, obviously if you save him, he has these like cool devices. Like he creates like little bell systems and stuff like that. And, he's able to rewire stuff. He's the nerdy guy of the group. He's the boy. Yeah, he's the goat, as people would say. But I think he's just fine, I guess. I don't know. I feel the same way about Carly, really. That's Carly, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, like, she's fine. She's got a gun, which is kind of cool, and she does kind of... There is, like, a little flirty thing with, like, her and Lee, but it literally goes nowhere, and she gets shot. I really don't like how they deal with Doug and Carly and Doug. No, I kind of do like it, but at the same time, it's sort of... That cool, like, mechanic kind of ruins the fact that you don't have much time with these characters. So like, obviously, if one of these dies in episode 1, you don't learn anything about the other. And then even like in episode 2 and episode 3, I feel like you don't learn because they're not present in episode 2. They're only like they come back at the end to help out, right? So you don't really learn that much about them in episode 2. And then in episode 3, you get a bit more dialogue with either of them, but then of course you have to shoot out. You're in the RV, and then they get shot by Lily. So really, they cheaped out quite nicely to like not really show you that much about these characters. But in terms of the one that I like the most, I think I'd probably say Doug. I don't know. Carly and Doug, they're about on the same level for me. Maybe that's a bit of a cop out. Maybe I'll say Doug, but I do kind of like the flirting, the sort of relationship aspect with Lee. I wish they kind of kept her around so we could see some more of that. But whatever. Lily Cole, another comic character who then was retroactively told was not a comic character because Kirkman was writing his novels. So Lily, I kind of love her. I unironically, I think she's a good character, like a really good character. So I don't know. No, I don't know. She's annoying, but like it makes sense, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I'm just struggling with this. Maybe I'll put Doug and Carly here in the love. Yeah, that feels better. I'm gonna put Doug and Carly in the love. I'm gonna put Lily in the like. The reason why is because I think she is like a pretty well written character. So of course, yeah, she's hot headed, but she defends her dad. In episode 1, she is kind of like an arsehole, and I kind of hate her. But then obviously in episode 2, she of course has taken over like the sort of leadership role, and things are hard, right? It's difficult choosing things, right? And she says to Lee, like, I'm the one who makes these decisions, blah blah blah. Ultimately, as well, of course, you have then Larry is killed, and even though Larry is killed by Kenny, she doesn't exact revenge. She doesn't like kill Kenny or Lee. She doesn't kick them out of the group. She just sort of she allows them. Like, that's a pretty fucking noble thing to do, because if someone did that to my father, heart attack or not, I'm gonna kill them. Like, I don't give a fuck if they've got a family. They're dying. No, I'm joking. I would never hurt anyone. But yeah, like, it's pretty, like, I feel like people are like unreasonably, like, they say, oh, Lily's a bitch. Fuck Lily. Lily's so mean. Like, what do you mean? She literally like let the guy who murdered her father basically off the hook. Like, come off it. And also, she's like really clever. Like, she deduces that medical supplies have been stolen, right? And there's a mole in the group. Now, this is when Lily kind of, as she starts very annoying, she kind of ends very annoying, where she kills either Doug or Carly. Of course, she was trying to shoot Ben regardless. No, she was trying to shoot Ben with the Doug situation, but she randomly like accuses Carly of doing it in episode If You Save Carly, which I think is a bit dumb. They just should have kept it so it was the same. She accuses Ben because he's the obvious fucking choice, right? He's the obvious person who it would have been. Like, it's obvious, my dude. If they just made that slight change, probably would maybe even put her in love. And then, of course, she leaves at the end, or you abandon her. Either or makes sense to me. Or there is like an option where she can offer Lee to come with her, and then Lee can say yes, and they dick tease us, and then Lily just fucks off anyway without Lee. That's annoying. But yeah, I like Lily overall. I think she's like a good character. Yeah, well written. So I'm gonna keep her there. And can she be a bit annoying? Sure, but I still like her. Larry, I mean, I hate him as a person. Well, maybe I dislike him as a person. But as a character, I think he's a bit on the nose, like a bit, like anything you say to him, he'll just get angry and mad at you. And it's kind of like, okay, I get it. He knows I'm a killer, but at the same time, he doesn't do anything about it. He doesn't out you. He doesn't kick you out. It's all like talk, no bark. It's all bark, no bite. So I guess I just like him. He's fine. He's like a mini sort of antagonist character to Lee. I like how he gets no repercussions for punching Lee and leaving him to death, but whatevs. And then ultimately he has a heart attack, which is pretty sad, and he gets his head caved in. Mark, the random dude who just sort of shows up. I mean, I like him. I think he's fine. Is a one episode character, as a person to kill. I I don't know. I might actually say dislike just because he's so forgettable. Like, there is, like, you spend, like, a fair amount of time with this guy. Like, the opening scene in episode 2, and then putting the fence up. I feel like he's the most forgettable bastard ever. Does anyone remember anything about Mark? I don't. And it does feel a bit cheap to introduce a new character to sort of kill off, right? Like, a new character who you met off screen. But which, of course, I guess makes sense. Like, you would probably meet more people in that sort of time jump that they do. But I don't know. I just also don't care for Mark. So fuck it. I'm going to put him in the dislike. Ben. Ben, I think, is probably a love. I think Ben is like... He's like really annoying, but at the same time really like... relatable. Not relatable, but like I get him, right? I empathize with Ben, okay? Ben Paul, all right? Because he, of course, is... very young, very scared. He's literally lost everyone. He loses both Travis and the teacher, David, right? He loses like the people he's closest to. And of course, the bandits, the reason why he was trading with the bandits, of course, is because they said they had, I think, one of his school friends or something, right? One of his friends. And so Ben was giving him stuff to hopefully get the friend back. So that, I understand why Ben was doing it, and I understand why, if there's a few supplies here and there, it's not a big deal, and then of course it gets out of hand, right? I understand why Ben got himself into that position. And then ultimately, of course, you have how after Kenny's family dies, it's not like Ben pretends like he didn't have anything to do with it. He feels very guilty about it. He knows it was him who did it. So much so that the guilt eats him up, and he confesses it to Kenny. Probably at the wrong time, but whatever. Oh, and he grabs the axe from the door. That was a bit dumb, but that's just a dumb Ben moment. If Clementine did it, we'd go, oh, Clementine, that's cute. But we have to wag our fingers at Ben, because yeah, he's not the smartest tool in the shed. And then ultimately he wants to die. I mean, it's fucking tragic. And then if you keep him alive, you of course get the epic speech where Ben's like to Kenny, like, yeah, you lost your family, but they're dead. Like, I don't know, like, about my sisters or my parents. Like, I'm never gonna know if they're alive or dead. I'm just never gonna know what happened to them. But at least you know. And I think that's like a really good fucking like speech from Ben. And then I think the way he dies, falling from the roof, I think it's probably the best death. I prefer that from like letting him fall to his death. But I think regardless, I kind of would have wanted like a little bit more of a more heroic death from Ben personally. But yeah, I like him as a character overall. I love him as a character overall. So he's going in the love. Okay, I think he's a good character. We've got Andy and Danny St. John. I love these guys as villains, although I feel like they are a little on the nose, but actually no, they're not really. I think at first they kind of got this weird vibe to them. Later on, they do kind of go a bit cartoony villain, a tiny bit, but it's not to a big extent, to be honest. Yeah, I think they're pretty good villains. I like them. The mum, though, Brenda St. John, I'm just gonna put her in the like. I think she's not as compelling as these two. Like these two are like fucking creepy, right? They really are. But they also kind of come across, especially which one's this? Is it Andy or Danny? I forget. I think this is Andy, right? Andy like comes across especially like really nice guy at first, and then it sort of changes. So, whew, yeah, these are some two really good villains. Brenda is like pretty good too, but probably not on the level of her sons. We got Jocelyn, I think it is. Is it? Is it Jocelyn? I think it's Jocelyn. She's like the bandit woman, but also not a bandit, and she of course lost a child or something, and she's very mad at the bandits. She puts the crossbow at Lee and Danny, and then she of course is killed by either one of them. I kind of like. I don't know. I think she's fine. I guess. I don't know if I like dislike. Oh, I should just put fine. Like maybe I'll change this tier to just like. Because I don't think I hate any of these characters anyway. So dislike or just put fine. Yeah, we'll just put fine or meh. We'll just call this meh, okay? And then we'll make this dislike. And if there's anyone we hate, we can always add them a bit lower. Right, yeah, I've got to just put these in meh. I'm going to put her in meh, okay? She's fine, but like what she does is like, she adds like a bit of craziness, a bit of mystery, like, because of course she takes Clementine's hat, and then there's the whole tape recorder she has at the end. I mean, yeah, and of course a moment to show like how either cold Lee has become or how cold Danny is. Like that whole sort of sequence, it's like okay, but it's not like the most necessary thing, because what does it really add to the story that much? Nothing, because she has no relation to the stranger. So yeah, I always found it really weird, her inclusion. I just never really got it that much. Chuck, I kind of love as like a mentor character. I wish he stayed around longer and maybe he'd be in the favorite. But he sort of comes in. He's like this wise old man, right? This wise old homeless guy, and he kind of gives Lee some like a little bit of a lecture about like Clementine, like keeping her safe. Like she'll die if you don't cut her hair and teach her how to, you can't treat her like a kid anymore. And that kind of does lead Lee into, of course, teaching Clementine how to like cut her hair, to cut her hair and how to shoot and all that. So ultimately, like the reason why Clementine is the way she is partially to do with Chuck, unironically. So yeah, he kind of comes in as like a mentor character to Lee for I guess one episode, and then of course he dies at the end. He sacrifices himself, which is pretty insane. So gotta give it props to Chuck. Would have liked to see more of him, but I think he's like as a sort of a catalyst character, not even a catalyst character, but just like as a character as in the device of being like a mentor to Lee. I think he's pretty cool. We've got Omid. Now I'm just judging them from season 1, of course, but I think I like Omid. Same with Krista. I don't think anything higher than that. All that Omid does is hurt his leg, and then he's in the house for like ages, and then he makes the last stand, and of course goes with Lee, or can go to Lee with the bite, and then helps Lee get to the Marsh house, and then of course leaves him there, and then at the end off screen, or actually I suppose off screen Clementine goes with him, but we don't actually see that. But yeah, I think they're just fine. Like in this season, I don't really like that. I like them, but I wouldn't say I love them. I'm just gonna leave them there. Molly, I actually love as a lot as a character, and I really do wish she came back. I think she's like one of the more interesting characters for me. She has this fucking demeanor about her. She's gone through like some pretty fucking tragic things. Like, of course, her sister was ill. She was living in Crawford. She was basically like doing sexual favors, so the doctor would treat her sister, only for him to betray her. Like Molly has like a pretty fucking tragic story, but also she's not like some pushover. Like she of course is her own person. She's pretty fucking tough. Like she's really cool as well. Like the whole system, like using the bells and her ice pick. Was it called Hilda or whatever it is? Like, yeah, she's just like a really well-rounded character, I feel. Now, is there much of a character arc with her? No, not perhaps, but we kind of get it in the flashbacks, I guess. We kind of get her character arc in the flashbacks, like how she sort of started and how she changed. But in the present, there isn't like much of a character arc. But that's because she's only in one episode. It would have been really cool if they kept her around, or if she came back in season 2 or season 3. Now, obviously, logistically, would that make sense? Probably not. But they brought fucking Kenny back. Why can't they bring Molly back? Molly was so cool. I don't even give a fuck about Krista. Like, whatever about Krista. But Molly, I really wanted to see Molly come back. But whatever. Now we've got these guys. I don't remember all their names. We'll do Vernon first. Vernon, I think, is... I don't know. Probably a meh. I think he's not that compelling. He's like some scared dude who then steals the boat. He's from Crawford. It's very convenient that Lee learns about Crawford, and then 2 seconds later he finds a bunch of people from Crawford. Vernon comes across as pretty weak. He's a pretty weak leader, but then at the same time, I don't know. I just don't care that much about him. What does he do? He brings them to Crawford. He brings them around. Then he escapes with them, and then steals the boat, and then fucks off, right? Yeah, I don't know. Meh. Not that bothered. And then, who we got? We got Boyd and Clyde, I think they're called. Maybe that's their names, Boyd and Clyde. I don't know which one's which. Let's have a look. Boyd and Clyde. Oh, it's not Clyde, it's Clive. Clive and Boyd. All right. Yeah. What's the old woman called? Joyce. I was going to say Jocelyn. Joyce. Yeah, all these guys go in the meh because they literally do nothing. I think Joyce is literally like in bed, and these two like have like one line each, if that. So they go in the meh just for that reason. Bree though I dislike. I don't even know why. She's so whiny. She's so annoying. She doesn't bring anything. She kind of, I don't know. If she did more, then I'd go for it. I'd put her higher. Wasn't she like the contest winner or something? I don't know. I just found her quite annoying. I don't know if that's like my inner sexism. It might be. But yeah, something about her. She was just irritating. So I'm going to put her there anyway. The Stranger. So I really love The Stranger. I think the twist of who the person Clementine was talking to was something relating to the car that was in the end of episode 2. Like something completely like, that most players probably forgot about. I really love the fact that is the sort of big reveal, right, of who this person is. It's just some small decision that you make at the end of one of the episodes, which, of course, has consequences, and I do like that. The Stranger is fucking creepy, and he's deranged, and he's lost his family, and we can kind of see that. Yeah, and I think he's a pretty cool, like, final villain. Would it have been cool if we had a bit more with him? I don't know if we needed it, but Lee was kind of done at that point. He was like, I'm going to kill this guy and move on. Yeah, but overall, yeah, he's not a bad guy. So I'll give him the love. Vince. Vince is a meh. I mean, he kills a guy. We don't get any context for this apart from this guy was hurting his brother or whatever. So he kills some guy who's begging for his life. Then he ends up in a prison bus with a pedophile and a Wall Street broker. And then he shoots one of their legs off, and then that's it. I don't really care that much about Vince. I think he's pretty meh. And then Danny and Justin, I think I dislike both of them. I think they're both not that interesting. And to be honest, I don't know if I said it in my live stream, but what I was thinking at the time is these are both very unlikable people. I don't know. I don't know if I want to save you. Can I shoot both their legs off? I just move on. Yeah. And plus they just disappear after that. You only see them in the one scene, and then I think one of them gets killed, or one of them dies, I think, as a result, or the other one like fucks off. I don't know. So I just don't care about them. And same goes for Wyatt. He's pretty meh. Eddie is pretty meh. I mean, they're fine. Like, Wyatt looks cool, and that's about it. But there's not much like character there. Russell, I do actually like quite a bit. I think like Russell's story is probably my favorite out of all of them. He's just some kid on his own, and some guy picks him up. This guy's clearly fucking crazy, and at the end, he can obviously choose to like join this guy and be a bit fucking insane, like, join him in like murdering some innocents, or he can like sort of leave and be on his own way. I kind of, yeah, I like that. It's like he has more of a sort of, not an arc, but more of a journey. I think Nate as a villain is just fine. He's kind of meh. He's a bit of a sort of generic arsehole guy. I feel like he did do something to those old folks as well, because they seem to like recognize him. So, Bonnie, I dislike. Maybe I'm letting my season 2 cloud my judgment, but even the DLC, the 400 Days DLC, which we're only judging her on, she's just not that likable. All we get is flirting with some older man, and I feel like she's a recovered drug addict. So, and people like to say, "Oh, well, Bonnie, that's fucked up that Bonnie's flirting with an older man." No, that's not the fucked up part. The fucked up part is Leland. This guy, okay? This guy is clearly flirting with this woman, right? Who he's like helped like recover from a drug addiction, okay? So he's got and he's much older than her, okay? That's a bit of a power dynamic there. So if I blame anyone, I'm blaming him. I'm not blaming really Bonnie so much, because it's understandable why Bonnie might have like feelings towards him. I'm sure you can say that was still bad for Bonnie to do it, but I'd more blame Leland in that situation. Bonnie's just, there's just nothing that likable about her. She's just kind of there. She's talking to Leland. What's in the bag, D? D, what's in the bag? And then you're in the cornfield, and then you kill D, and then you run away. I mean, there's just nothing there, really. It's just not as compelling. Leland, I don't really care for. D, I don't really care for. I sort of dislike all these characters. I dislike all 3 of them, to be honest. Roman, I think he's a meh kind of villainish dude. Whatever, really. Shell? No, this is Stephanie. Stephanie is meh. There's not really much to her. You can talk to her a few times. She's vaguely generic woman. Shell, though, I think I like her quite a bit. She's okay. I think her and Becca are like sort of 2 peas in a pod, so you kind of have to rate them both on their own, both together even. Although I'd say Becca's probably a bit, maybe I'll put Becca in the meh because she's a bit annoying. Shell's just fine. She has a choice, right? She can. Now, you obviously, her sort of character arc is kind of determined by you, right? But of course, you have Roberto, this random dude who shows up, this Spanish dude who shows up, and you can kill him because he might have been surveying, like he was caught by the watchdogs, right? So you can kill him, or you can let him go. And of course, if you let him go, there's a consequence to that, and Boyd is killed. But if you, wait. No, Boyd, I'm rating them on the DLC as well. What am I on about? So I'll probably put Boyd in like, because I think he has a bit more of a character in 400 Days. Clive, though, goes down here because he has no character. Joyce does actually speak a bit, to be fair. But she's kind of annoying, so I'll probably leave her in the meh. What was I saying? Yeah. Shell I like. So yeah, you have... So I forgot. I need to rank them based on that as well. Oh, and Vernon gets killed off screen, which is shit. So yeah, he's definitely in the meh. So yeah, Shell has like this decision right to make. So of course there's the Roberto, the guy's broken in, and so she can help. She's the deciding vote, and of course if he goes, then Boyd is killed. There's a consequence to that, and then you of course have the next decision. Of course, with Stephanie leaving, you can kill Stephanie, or you can fuck off and go in the RV and leave, right? And so you can kind of just choose the arc there, which I really like. So you can choose to kill, or you can change and leave the group and fuck off your own way in your RV. So yeah, I do kind of like the 400 Days. I do think that my least favorite is the Bonnie story and the Vince one. Really, I don't think the Vince one is that great. I really like the Russell one, and I quite like the Shell and Becca one as well. That one's okay. The Wyatt one's kind of meh. It's in the middle. But that's all the characters ranked. All of season 1 plus the 400 Days DLC. Lee and Clem are my favourite. The only 2 up in the favourite. But these are like goated, right? These are like the best. Maybe I should put Kenny there. I don't know. I'm going to leave Kenny down here. I think this is fine. Like, I really like all these guys, yeah. These are good villains. Chuck's a good mentor. Molly's pretty cool. Stranger's pretty good. Doug and Carly, I think, are probably about equal. I really like Ben, too. Lily... I do think Lily's probably actually higher. I'd probably put Lily in the love. Yeah, I'd probably put Lily in the love. I think she's pretty... As a character, I like her anyway. As a person, maybe not. But as a character, I think she's a really good character. Like, yeah. Meh, yeah. Dislike. Yeah, we'll stick to that. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Oh, wait, actually. Wait. I feel like someone else should go up there. Who else would I put up there? I guess I would put Kenny if I was going to put anyone, but I don't want to give the satisfaction of that. So we'll put Ben up there and Molly. Anyway, thanks for watching. So yeah, I'm gonna do some more streams. Obviously next year. Obviously we're coming into a new year, so I'm gonna do some more streams of The Walking Dead season 2. So if you catch one, make sure to show up. And if you can't be asked watching the stream, just show up and leave a comment and leave a comment in the live chat and say hi. You don't have to watch it though. That's okay. And we'll do season 2 characters at some point too. I do need to complete the season, my hero characters morally ranked. I need to complete part 2 of that. I've got a few things to do, but of course I've had like a week break, so I hope you've been okay without my luscious videos. What else is there to say? Thank you for 5,000 subscribers. That's pretty cool. We're at 5,000 subs now. That's amazing. Wow, crazy. But why isn't it 10,000? That's what I want to know. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. And I am grateful, by the way. That's a meme. Goodbye.